Hi everyone. In this video, I want to talk about doing some word problems that involve proportions. Now, I'm only going to do a couple of them here because most of the ones on ALEKS are more or less of this exact same form. So you can more or less follow this this format for how to solve these problems. Okay. So let's look at this first one here. It says on the blueprint of a house, 36 millimeters represents 8 meters. Okay, the actual length of the living room is 6 meters. What is the length on the blueprint? Okay, so this might not be the most intuitive thing. You may think it's intuitive, you may not. Some people, I think, grasp this a little easier than others. I'm one of the people that finds this to be less intuitive, or at least initially I find it to be less intuitive. But what we're dealing with here is ratios and proportions. That's the kind of thing we are trying to use to solve this problem. So what we first start with is we want to figure out what how we could structure the ratio here. Okay, so it doesn't matter. When we say a ratio, we mean a fraction. That's really what we're talking about here. Okay, so we start by looking at the ratio between the actual length. Okay, the actual length over the blueprint length. Okay. So we're assuming that there's some kind of constant relationship or predictable relationship between the actual length and the blueprint length. Okay, so what we can do is leverage this ratio to figure out what the blueprint length is on here if we have the actual length of a living room being 6 meters. Okay, so from that, let's go ahead and set this up. So we have, this would imply, so if the actual length here. Okay, so the actual length of the living room is 6 meters. So we'll put 6 meters on top. Okay, and we want to know what the length is on the blueprint. Okay, so we don't know what that is. So let's use a letter. I'm going to use X. You can use something else. That's fine. You can use whatever variable you think is best. I think ALEKS uses Q, but this is fine. Okay, so we're going to use 6 over X is equal to the ratio that we already know. Okay, so what we know is that the ratio that's given here is that 8 meters is over 36 millimeters. Okay, let's do mm here. Over 36 millimeters. Okay, so this ratio should be the same for each of these. Okay, we know that 8 meters is associated with 36 millimeters. And 6 meters should be over something, but we don't know what that something is, but it should be the same ratio here, okay? So what we can do is we can use this to solve for X and figure out what we have. Okay, so I'm going to write this without units so that we can do this a little faster. So we have 6 over X is equal to 8 over 36. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to multiply both sides of this equation by 36. Okay. So these will cancel, and we're given 36 times 6 over X is equal to 8. And now we're going to multiply both sides by X. These will cancel, and we get 36 times 6 X is equal, sorry, not X, 36 times 6 is equal to 8x. Okay, so we have 36 times 6 is equal to 8x. All right, and now all we have to do is solve for x. So 36 times 6 is going to give us 216. So we have 216 is equal to 8x. Now we can divide both sides by 8. And that's going to give us that x is equal to 27. Okay? So x is equal to 27 implies that the blueprint length equals 27 millimeters. Okay, so we're looking for what is the length on the blueprint. The blueprint length is 27 millimeters if the length is 6 meters. Okay, let's look at one more. Here it says the sales tax They said there is a sales tax of $6 on an item that costs $93 before tax. A second item costs $294.50 before tax. What is the sales tax on the second item? Okay, so once again, we're dealing with a ratio here that should remain constant. Okay, so we start by noting that we have a $6. Well, okay, we'll write this out explicitly. We have tax and pre-tax cost. Okay, so that's our ratio here. So from here, we're going to have $6 on a $93 item. And this is going to be equal to, let's see, a second item costs $290. We're looking to find the tax. So we're going to put the tax in the numerator this time. So we'll do T for tax. Okay, T for tax. Okay, and this is over a $294.50 item. Okay, so we'll set this up without units so that we can make it easy to do the math. 6 over 93 is equal to T over 294.5. Okay, so what we can do is, this one's fairly easy. All we have to do is multiply both sides by 294.5. Okay, these will cancel, and we get that T is equal to 294.5 times 6 over 93. And you can just plug that into a calculator to figure out what the tax is going to be. So you have 294 times 6, or 294.5 times 6 equals what it is, and then we divide by 93. And we get that the tax is going to be 19. So our tax equals $19.